This episode is proudly supported by Anchor Food Professionals. Whether you're a caterer, cafe operator, or chef running a commercial kitchen, everyone knows quality products are the foundation of successful dishes. Anchor Food Professionals is a trusted supplier to the hospitality industry and has built a stellar reputation thanks to their consistently excellent butter, cream, and cheese. As the food service business of Fonterra, Anchor Food Professionals is home to many well-known brands such as Perfect Italiano, Mainland, Western Star, and Bega, and is now an important part of the Australian food service sector. Anchor Food Professionals has a history of innovation and expertise in sustainable dairying that delivers a world-class product portfolio. If quality cheese, cream, and butter are important to your creations, head to anchorfp.com.au to explore the range.
I do You do what you say.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dirty Linen. It's your host, Dani Valent, with you again today for a hospitality food chat. I'm really thrilled to be with you and excited about today's chat. I feel like at this time of year, as we get into the silly season and think about maybe having some time off and regrouping for 2025, I think it's a really good opportunity to reflect on the year that was and think about plans for the year to come. Whether you're a business owner, you work in hospitality, or you're a keen diner, I think this is going to be a really satisfying and important chat. Our guest is Marco Finanzio. Marco runs a really thrumming, exciting little restaurant group in Thornbury in Melbourne's north. He's got a background in finance, so he's good with numbers. For everybody in hospitality, it's been a challenging period, and there's no doubt that it's been similar for Marco and his Umberto Group, but he's got the skills and the strategies to work his way through it and look forward to next year with a plan. Marco, looking forward to chatting it all through. Welcome to Dirty Linen.
Hello, Dani. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great.
Thank you for the glowing bio. That's really generous. What I will say is I'm a huge fan of you, and I just really love the way you champion all corners of our wonderful industry, and it's just fantastic and really positive in a really tough time. So you do that without discrimination, and I think you give everyone a go at all levels, and it's genuine and refreshing. So I just want to shout that out to you, and well done.
That is so kind of you, and I'm blushing even though you can't see it, but no, really kind of you. And I think everything that I do is really born out of a genuine passion for the industry and an admiration for the people who put it all on the line every day. And you're certainly someone who does that, 5 businesses and 60 or so staff, 15 years of history over there in Thornbury. And there's so much to admire in that. So now that we've got all the compliments out of the way, for people who don't know about Umberto Group and the suite of businesses that you've got, give us a little rundown and the backstory.
Okay. Well, Umberto Espresso Bar was born about 15 years ago, and that was kind of my return to hospitality. So Umberto is basically it's all about nostalgia and comfort, and people have been ordering the same things for many years, and we know everyone by name. We know the kids by name. Some of the kids are working for us now, so it's all kind of full circle, and really privileged to be able to serve the community there. Then Joni's popped up a few years later. We saw a gap in the market in terms of a lacking bar scene in up and coming area, being Thornbury High Street, and Joni's is all about the aperitivo, and it's become a date venue, if anything, if I had to label it. So lots of fun and vibrancy there. Then we moved across the road from the old Umberto site to a brand new site and did lots of renovating. And we popped on top of Umberto's Gigi rooftop about 4 years ago. And and that is, cocktails and views and real city vibes, but here in the oasis at Thornbury is. So they're what's been going for a few years now. But our latest edition is Pastificio Sandro, and that is a wine and pasta bar, which has recently flipped from a retail space because of the trying times. But that's got new energy in the group and doing really well. And we also have another part of that business, which is wholesale, which has some exciting leads for next year. So that's it.
Yeah, look, it's a really interesting little ecosystem. I've recently visited Gigi, and not too long before that, Joni's, when I did my Eat Streets up and down Thornbury for the Age Good Food. And it was like, which of these businesses do I shine a light on? But chose Joni's to give the main mention to. But came back more recently to Gigi because it's got that incredible view to the north from the rooftop. It's a unique view. But I think it's an interesting offering there in that, you've got an Italian background. Most of your businesses do Italian food, but up at Gigi, I was eating burger and, a spritz with a little bit of Italian accent, but perhaps, you're literally moving away from that Euro Italo thing. And I suppose what it says to me is that you're innovative, you're trying new things, and you're looking at these as businesses, not just as expressions of your personality. Tell us about that side of things. How do you strategize this restaurant group of yours?
I think that's a really good question. I could talk about it for ages, but I think it's definitely a reflection of my growth and where I'm at in my life. I feel like when I first got started, a lot of it was born out of pure passion and just this real kind of need to keep things simple and put on plates stuff that I grew up with. People have had really fantastic, great experiences, and just that general purpose of bringing people together through food, drink and events. And that's where all that passion was being able to be on display as Umberto's and Joni's. And over time, you kind of develop your craft and you make mistakes, you get better at things and you learn and grow. And I think in this current climate, definitely since COVID, you start to look at things a little bit more critically. And there's a lot of challenges in small business in all industries, but in particular hospitality, which has been well documented, that we're up against it. Passion's not enough. You really need to be good at the detail. You need to have good systems, and it's almost I don't want to discount or we never forget about the people, because the people are the industry, whether they're your colleagues or your customers. But in order for you to be viable in this day and age, it's absolutely essential to make sure that you engineer parts of your offering that will allow you to end up with some money in the bank to live on, because it's not all hey, this would be great to put on a plate. Unfortunately, now I will continue a little bit more on this in regards to, it's not the end of the world and those times will return, but this is what's necessary now. And that's kind of where some of my offerings have, been a bit more thoughtful in those areas. And it seems to be working.
Well, talk nuts, bolts, and perhaps bowls of chips. Like, what are you actually doing, and what could other business owners take from your experience if they want to look at their own balance sheets or their own offerings?
Yeah, I think it does all come down to cost of goods and labour costs, and unfortunately, they are technical terms, and it sounds like we're not really it's sucking the life out of the industry that we love, which is built on expression of food and detailed, really welcoming service and that genuine hospitality as a whole. But going back to that, we're looking at things. I would 3 years ago, I would never want to serve a bowl of chips because I think it's been done to death. But everyone likes chips. Most of our venues have chips on the menu, so it's a necessary evil. But it's also listening to the customer more and giving them what they want, and maybe flipping it a little bit more towards that. And that's what's going to be sustainable in terms of patronage. And, whereas comparing a few years ago, it's like, well, hey, I used to have this particular dish growing up, and I just want it on the menu and I want people to share it and love it, but it might be a very expensive dish to put on. So, they're decisions that we make very easily now, and we skew towards something that really stacks up numbers-wise. So, if you're getting your COGS down to the early 20%, you're winning. And yeah, that's critical.
And I mean, you've got different income streams through different businesses, and you also mentioned a wholesale offering. How important is it, whether you're in one shop front or a number, to have different strings to the bow?
Oh, I think it's absolutely essential. The trends are trends. They move pretty quickly, and even more so these days. So you can't really open up, unless you've got lots of money behind you, you can't really open up multiple venues all the time. So that reinvention, that evolution, that diversification of revenue is 100% absolutely critical. Now, the way we do that is just making people, getting customers in the door for different reasons. And we kind of feel like we don't want to oversaturate and self-cannibalize because we are geographically close to each other, but reaching a bit further in terms of why people decide to go out. And if it's just for a little cocktail or a pre-dinner drink with someone else, or a full-blown meal or a family gathering. Functions have traditionally been very lucrative for a lot of businesses. We dedicate a whole team to, putting together and executing functions, because we feel like it's a big part of our business. It's probably 25% of our revenue. And next year we're looking at, just with Sundraw, the wholesale take-home meal side of things, where we're exploring an area that's super exciting and might not be very glamorous to the hospitality industry as a general kind of throwaway comment, but we're looking at, in sense of community, we're looking at maybe addressing the lack of options for take-home packages for people who are not old enough to go or not unwell enough to go into aged care, but they are still in their own homes and they're looking at, an option to something that's been on the market for a long time that's not very culturally sensitive or not very nutritional. And, we think that there's we've got a big part and big responsibility to play in that area, which is well supported by the government. So, these are people that need to eat. They need to eat well. And I've got parents of that age where it's like, well, I really want them to be fed well. How do we go about fulfilling that need and that gap?
Yeah, I think that's so well said, and it is such an important business opportunity for a lot of restaurants where the home care packages will subsidise the cost of meals that people choose to have, and as you say, they're more perhaps culturally appropriate, or they're just what people like eating. I think it's such an important conversation. Just because people reach a certain age, it doesn't mean that they stop loving food or that food stops being an important part of their joy in life. So I think any initiatives that support that are to be commended.
Let's do that well. Yeah, like let's own it, and we're going to be there one day. Let's eat well till we can't eat anymore.
Yeah, 100%. And, thinking about High Street, Thornbury, Marco, it's a street that a lot of people love because it's got so many standalone businesses. And, even as you say, it is hard to open a restaurant these days. I feel like, the further up the street you go, perhaps the rents are a little lower and perhaps people can give something a go. What's it like running a restaurant group in such an environment?
Yeah, it's definitely community minded. It's so wonderful. We share stories, we share staff, we share stock. It's a real, we all get together and really help each other out. That's a true village feel, and it's kind of what it's like in the old country. And that sense of it takes a village. So in order to survive, we cross promote within industry as well, and collaborations are a great platform to do that. So yeah, High Street is, I think it's to be honest, I think it lost a lot of momentum because of COVID and economic kind of pressures on everybody. But so there's still a lot of upside. Here I am inviting more competition, but there's a lot of upside in Thornbury. I think it's on everyone's radar now. However, there's a lot of growth to be had here, and it can only make things better. So yeah, I feel like arriving 15 years ago, it was quite sparse in terms of even shops open, but now there's a really good balance of shopkeepers and a really good sense of community.
As you look forward to next year, what, I guess, projects or intentions, plans are you carrying through?
Well, yeah, this year's obviously been about survival and just making sure we've got really strong foundations as a business and a commercial sense. Now we've that was our phase one, I suppose. And phase two is about the people and developing our team. Really focusing on being an employer of choice. We don't have the budget to be offering overly kind of indulgent salaries. We're not a big group. We're it's basically my wife and I, and we feel like the only way we can compete is if we offer a standout conditions and a sense of team that all want to grow, and that's personally, professionally. We've got a good mix of locals who are either at university or industry professionals that have kind of been flogged, I dare say, in the past and come and see the light and just want that real genuine balance. I think, I don't know, you're across this more than anyone because you're speaking to so many people, Dani, but there's a real shift in the culture of hospitality, and it's monumental, and it's monumentally positive in a sense that those dark old days are, the light's been shone on it, and we're making real progress in areas of wages and conditions, and just real just breaking some awful habits that the industry is kind of known for. And yeah, we're in the spotlight a lot as a result, but I do feel like as an employer, you need it's your responsibility to just be better every day, and and it's really exciting to be able to focus on that. And make sure that you do what you say, and we want to be able to have people lining up to work for us. So that's our focus.
So what do you actually do? How do you become an employer of choice?
You talk to a lot of people. I've got I'm not kind of well known in the industry, but I do have a lot of friends who have worked for some very big groups. I like to sit down with them and really pick their brains about what's worked for them in the past, and adapt it for the culture that I want to build in my group. One of the COVID projects for me was I don't like wasting time. So during that time, I sat down and committed to writing an employee journey. And it is for everybody who joins us, and is from start to finish, for managers, to support managers in their management, but also for every staff member to know this is what the expectations are from us as an employer, but also as them as an employee. So it's all out there. It's quite a big document, but you're basically putting your hand up and saying, I'm accountable. And we have a really robust review process with appraisals where every single person in the business gets a review every second month, and that seems like a bit of overkill for a group our size. But I do feel like with committing to that process, committing to the employee journey, it's all really starting to come together. And maybe many years ago, I would just kind of take any resume and train them from scratch and be happy to do so. I think part of that growth and evolution as an operator, as a father, as a community kind of leader, I feel like, we're at a point now where we're attracting some really wonderful staff members who are making me even better. So that's really wonderful to collaborate with people who have way more experience and are really pushing everyone around each other to just be better and make it a really nice place to be. So,
what kind of things come out of those 2 monthly reviews?
No surprises. That's a good thing. It can be easily forgotten, I suppose. We're getting, service to service area, just trying to get through each service or each docket or, each table. We don't want it to be like that. We want people to be present when they're here with us. And whether it's your chosen industry or not, we've got quite a well-balanced team in terms of where they're going in life. And I'm really privileged to be able to lead that. But we feel like in those, the initial ones are all about goal setting, and how do I help you reach those goals as an employer, and it is about making sure that we revisit that very regularly and it doesn't get forgotten on an annual or 6-month basis. But those meetings become shorter. They're real touch points and forums for, hey, how you going with that? What do you need? Is there something new that's come across your desk that we can support you in? We feel like on that level and building that, building the team from that perspective, you get the results at the other end. And it's about people being present on the ground and in the kitchen to really know that there is a pathway for them, whether it be personal growth or professional growth. We just want people to be, just doing good work, and it seems to be all coming together really nicely. So I'm really proud of it, but I'm also, super chuffed for next year.
And Marco, I'd love to dig back into your background a little bit. We've touched on the fact that you've had a background in other industries, but you've worked hospo throughout. Tell us what it is about your food upbringing and your hospitality touchstones that just compelled you to come back to the industry in such a big way.
Yeah, I have to confess something, Dani. My mum's Australian. I'm not sure if many people know that, but I've got the best of both worlds. So I can flip from side to side whenever I want, which is handy. But I haven't had this stereotypical Italian upbringing, which I think has benefited me and my decision making, and keeping Italian cuisine and tradition, vibrant and very exciting and letting people in. And I was one of the founders for the Italian Salami Festival back in the day, and that was a real opening of doors to people who maybe have not ever lived next to an Italian, but really wanted to peek around the corner and see what it was all about. So that was a great achievement, and that's probably been the essence of what I've been trying to do during my time in hospo. So before I opened Umberto's, I was in finance and became an accountant here and in London. And after 10 years in that industry, I was like, geez, I'm not very happy. I was actually depressed, and didn't know it was at the time. But I just thought, everyone's got a choice. A lot of people have a choice in life to change things, and I felt like I definitely did, and I just had a real deep dig into when I was happiest, and it was in hospitality. It was where I came out of my shell. I was a very painfully shy young man growing up, and I remember sitting or being asked to. I worked at La Porchetta in North Melbourne. Do you remember that place back in the day? Yeah, very exciting in Melbourne for a place like that to open up, and had a really positive experience there in terms of, this shy young kid at age 16 having to take his first order at a table of 9-10 people in the smoking section of the restaurant back in those days.
Capricciosos all round.
Absolutely. And it was, it was very, very overwhelming and intimidating. But I got there, and that was the first step. And I also really enjoy mentoring the kids that come to us that I see myself in. So, long story short, going back to those times was a real sense of development for me personally, and I got a lot of joy out of kind of just kind of developing in those areas of life. And the people that I met along the way are still great mentors for me and really positive role models in a lot of areas. And, in terms of food, it's always mummy's a really good cook. Daddy's a very, very good cook, and all my aunties, and, lots of things that I'm fortunate enough to go to Italy regularly. So I'm picking up lots of things from there and the evolution of that cuisine as well. And just bringing all that back and combining all those true real passions and life experience and bringing other people together to do that is quite special. I haven't lost that at all, and I feel, look around the room in the venues, and the diversity of people in the room is probably the biggest achievement for me. Is just being able to bring people together to share those special moments and share those occasions and the company and time. I think, maybe people are changing a lot these days. It's getting a bit deep, Danny, but it's about experiences now, isn't it? It's maybe not about that gold watch or that the fancy new car for some. It's about actually let's carve out a time in the week to really get down to the nitty gritty and see how you are and check in and actually the forum of a restaurant and around a table, whether it's someone's home or a restaurant, it's still a privilege, isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm happy to go as deep as you want on that sort of stuff. I think it's profoundly important that people gather around tables with people that they get on with and people that they wish they got on better with. I think, when good food and maybe a glass of wine is part of that, it's just so bonding and so important and carries so much with it in terms of culture and memories that you're creating in the moment. So yeah, like it's
undeniable.
Yeah. It's very important what you're doing. So let's say I come to Umberto in the next few months and to have one of those experiences, what do you reckon I should order?
Our ragu, our veal ragu has not been off the menu in 15 years. I always really wanted to do a seasonal thing, but it'll be absolute anarchy if we took it off. So it's a 5-hour slow-cooked veal ragu. What else? Like right now, it's the zucchini flowers filled with ricotta, a little bit of lemon, cracked black pepper, kind of a tempura batter, really lightly fried and absolutely delicious. We did a tasting this morning. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but we did a tasting this morning for our panettone fritto, which is a panettone slice fried in butter with a marsala zabaione.
Oh, stop it. What?
Yeah, it's all the good things in one plate. So that's only on for a short time. So get onto that. There's lunch or dinner for you. There you go.
Yeah, I'm into it. Never too hot for a comforting ragu. So, Marco, let's say we chat at this time next year. Like, what would the shape of 2025 be like?
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to feel less pressure in terms of, tax obligations for one. I think a lot of people might agree with you on that. Yeah, I'd like to feel closer as an industry. I think there's a lot of ability and scope to continue. Podcasts like this, symposiums, and really sharing of knowledge and experiences. I think we spend our days looking after all our customers and making sure they're well fed and well watered, but each other. I think I'd like to be sitting here this time next year going, hey, you know what, I've reached out to some people and got the support that I needed, and I've been able to reciprocate that to many people and just feel closer as an industry rather than a lot of the tackling a lot of the issues that are necessary, but also, quite heavy. And just being able to deliver on what I'm aiming to and the goals I'm setting for myself, for the group, for my family, and just being in a spot to go, all right, well, yeah, we ticked all that off the list. How do we get even better? So that would really make me very happy this time next year.
I love it. Well, I reckon let's actually do that check-in and let's see. But hopefully it won't be a year until we chat again, because it's been such a pleasure. Marco, thank you for the thought that you've put into this conversation and the intention that you take into your businesses. Really heartening to chat to you, and I'm sure people will get a lot from this conversation. Personally, I've got a lot out of it, but panettone fried in butter is definitely close to the top of the list.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any more decadent, hey?
Yeah, exactly. But no, Marco, really appreciate your time, and all the best for the season.
Thank you so much, Dani, and have a great summer.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This